Welcome to Final Expense Telesales. My name is Dana Neeson. Today I'm going to give you 3 actionable items that you can use to make your discovery even stronger, which will ultimately increase your sales. If you are just now finding this channel, thank you so much for being here. I run a telesales team for Tailored Legacy. We sell final expense insurance over the phone with just one carrier. My job is to help you have stronger, more sophisticated sales conversations. And after today's video, I hope that's true for you. So stick around. The theme of today's training is that the majority of sales are both won and lost in the beginning part of your conversation. Too many salespeople are far more focused on how to have the perfect close. What do I say when I get objections? And the more focused you are at the end of the sale, the further away you get from what you actually need to focus on. So if you find that you're frustrated at the end and you're searching for ways to have the perfect close or how to overcome objections, hopefully this video is for you, and I'll help shift your perspective so that you put less time focusing on how to fix the end and more time realizing that the problem is actually in the beginning. One thing I want you to keep in mind as we go through these 3 actionable items that you can take is the mantra of prospects don't see value from what you say, they see value from what they say. So keep that in mind as we talk about the 3 things I'm going to present to you today, because this is the foundation of how to build upon that theory. Action item number 1 to help build a better discovery is make sure you have a buyer on the phone. Now, this might sound simple. It might sound easier said than done, but I've found in listening to calls that far too many agents are just presenting to anyone that will give them time. And that is a big mistake, because in that case, you have someone that says, well, I'll listen to what you have to say, right? Well, I don't know really if I need this. You called me, so go ahead and I'll hear your offer. Like, those little clues are indications that you probably don't have a buyer on the phone. And so knowing what types of questions to ask to make sure that you have someone that actually needs what you have to offer, not just someone that's there because they're bored and they want to waste your time, is the best way to make sure that you start off strong. So before you even proceed and try to talk someone into seeing the value of having a final expense policy, you need to challenge them and ask them questions. Well, I'm certainly not here to waste your time, sir. I guess, do you already have something in place that takes care of your funeral costs and final expenses? And if not, is that something that you think your family would benefit from? And tell me why, right? If they do, how long ago did you get it? How much coverage does it provide? Are you happy with the amount of coverage? If there's anything you could change about it, what could you? So what you're doing here when you have an ambiguous customer on the phone is you have to mind to make sure you have someone who is not just worth your time, but is worth presenting the information and going through all these exercises. Because if you don't have a buyer on the phone, you're wasting your time and their time, and there is no objection in the world that you'll be able to overcome if you don't have someone who's a buyer in the first place. Actionable item number 2, you have to find the pain. Now, the questions that are in my script, as well as the questions that I've laid out for you in multiple sales videos, including the 7-part sales series, there's a whole one on questions you can ask in discovery. Those are all what you would call surface level questions to find the initial pain for something. But those are designed to start your prospect letting you in on their surface level pain, their surface level answers. The hardest part about really finding pain is understanding what to do with those answers when you get them and how to go deeper. Because the bigger the pain, the better your solution will become in your prospect's mind. Believe it or not, there's no feature or benefit in the world that is going to sell somebody into buying something when there's no problem, or the problem isn't big enough that it has to be solved, right? There's no urgency. So the more you can put the focus on somebody's problem, on somebody's pain, the more they're going to want to solve it. In order to go deeper, this does require us to ask some hard, uncomfortable, clarifying questions. For example, you find out the reason somebody inquires and they say they're just getting older. That is a surface level answer. I definitely have talked about this in previous videos. So you take that surface level answer and you go deeper. Well, what about getting older? What about turning 60? Has you thinking that now's the right time? Another example goes into the history of where our customer has been or our prospect has been, right? The whole point of discovery is to get a frame of where someone's been, where they're at, and where they want to be. You have to cover all three bases. And part of where they're at is uncovering pain from where they've been, is uncovering the pain of where they've been by asking things like, how long have you been looking? What have you found? What caused you to not purchase? They'll say things like, it's too expensive. Okay, that is a surface level answer. How do you get more pain from a surface level answer? How so? What about it made it feel too expensive? What is it too expensive to you? And starting to get those layers beyond the pain of searching for life insurance has caused them will also get them to realize that they have a big problem. They cannot afford this. Another example of finding more pain is simply by asking someone who's going to be in charge, right? Of going down to the funeral home, meeting with the funeral director, picking everything out, planning everything associated with the cost of your funeral. Who's the beneficiary? And then find out from there. So it sounds like you probably don't want your kids to have to come out of pocket and pay for this if they didn't have to. They say no, and you say, so that sounds really important to you. What's going on with them that has you thinking maybe they wouldn't be able to pay for it? Find the pain. The bigger the pain, the greater the chances that they're going to want to solve that pain. Actionable item number 3 to have a strong discovery is uncover a plan B. Mine for those objections in the beginning. This is what the consequence question is for. It's not just to get people to think about the consequences of not doing something. Have you thought about what would happen if you decided to not put anything in place? Like you've been looking for a while, like what would happen if you couldn't find something you could afford? What would happen then? Okay, yes, I'm trying to get them to picture in their mind like what would happen to their family, but I also need to start mining for plan Bs. I need to mine for objections. We were listening to a call this morning where the woman said, well, my kids will just figure it out. Guys, that's an objection. That's something that we have to tackle here and now. What is the best appropriate response for that? But do you want them to have to do that? Right? And why not? Or the flip side would be, but do you want them to have to do that? And why not just let them do that? Right? I mean, it sounds like you're really limited on your income, you're on Social Security. If your kids can just pay for it, why not let them? Right? You do that, you take the sale away and you get them to a place, well, I mean, who knows what their situation is going to be in 20 years from now, right? So it's not me giving the customer the possible solutions. It's asking the questions to get them to tell me what the possible outcomes or ramifications would be of their plan B, so that when I get to the end, that objection of I'm just going to let my kids figure it out isn't going to come up because I already gave them the space to process it in real time. So just to recap, we've given you 3 actionable items to make your discovery conversation stronger. A, make sure you have a buyer on the phone, and do that by making sure there is a need. Do not talk to anybody who breathes and think that you talking them into seeing the value of something is going to get people to want to buy. Step 2 is find the pain. Make sure that you go deeper when you get those surface level answers. Practice clarifying questions. When you want to give information, find a way to ask it to get the prospects to give you the answers instead of you giving it to them. And finally, mine for those objections, uncover the plan B, and then challenge your customer, your prospect, on why wouldn't they just do that so that they can overcome their own objection. I hope you find value from this video. If you did, please give it a like, post a comment if you've learned something. If you'd like more information on how to join my team, all my contact information is in the description below. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful sales day. Bye.